Is it better to go first or second is an age-old TCG question. Does it really matter in the Digimon trading card game? Honestly, I don't really think so. There are a few exceptions, but we're going to go over that in this video today. All right, what are the advantages of going first? You can establish the first attack of the game. So if you're playing a deck that wants to win by being aggressive or just attacking face and trying to clear security before the opponent does, Rookie Rush, Imperial's Ramon, etc., then going first can be a very strong advantage for you. Going first lets you be first on curve. What does that mean? It means that you are more likely to see your level 6 before your opponent, establish your level 6. In most traditional decks, your level 6 is your main boss and your win condition, which means that you are going to be dictating the tempo of the game. If you go first, you're going to be the one posing the questions, and then your opponent has to have the answers to what you're doing. And if you are going first, you are more likely to be doing what your deck wants to do before your opponent does, which means that you are in a stronger position to control the board state. Advantages of going second: you have more memory to work with, because your opponent has to give you memory in order to end their turn and pass it over to you. On average, if you go second, you have about 1 or 2 memory to work with. That's about the standard play if your opponent doesn't brick. Some decks will give you more, or maybe they play a memory tamer and they give you 4 memory. You can definitely do things with that, but for the most part, if you go second, you can expect to be working with 1 or 2 memory more than you would have if you were going first. If you go second, you can scout what your opponent is playing. So, for example, let's say your opponent flips over a yellow Upamon, and then they evolve a yellow Salamon on top of that. You can pretty much discern that they are playing a Rookie Rush deck. So on your turn, maybe you Digivolve into a blocker instead of a vanilla. So that way you can establish that blocker on your following turn by moving it out of raising. If you were going first, maybe you didn't really have that information and you did the vanilla instead, and then you have to wait an extra turn or pass over more memory in order to play that blocker. Right? So just little things like that, little decisions that can change the way the game flows out, you can make if you're going second as opposed to if you were going first. And finally, the most important thing about going second, and the reason a lot of people ask, is it better to go second or not, is that you get to draw that extra card. So you start the game off with 6 cards in your hand instead of 5. Does that 6th card really matter? Honestly, I don't really think so. We'll go into math a bit in the next slide. But the idea of the 6th card is that it can help you not brick. And we're going to qualify what a brick means. In Digimon, I think a brick hand means that you don't have a level 3 in your hand. You have to make a play that passes your opponent more than 3 memory, and that play is not just playing a memory tamer. So what does that mean? So basically, I think Digimon TCG is kind of balanced or centered around that 3 memory threshold. Giving your opponent more than 3 memory often means that they're able to do more than they should be allowed to do, and then it's harder to come back from those bigger plays. The exception to this being if they play a memory tamer, or if you play a memory tamer, memory tamers cost 4. So even if you pass them over 4, which is one more than that 3 memory threshold, on their turn, they have to pass you back at least 3, which makes it a lot easier to respond to their plays. So let's say instead of playing a memory tamer, you play a Waru Monzemon. So it's just a 5 cost vanilla. Then they have 5 memory to do whatever they want on your turn, and more likely than not, they can leave you at 1 memory only when they pass you over to your turn, which leaves you very few options for a comeback, right? So I would consider that a bricked hand. And lastly, the worst brick of them all, there is literally not a single card in your hand that you can play, and you just have to pass the turn over. You only give them 3, but you literally did not play a single card. You didn't do anything to establish your win condition or to improve your board state. Usually only like security control decks run into this kind of brick, or maybe you just have like cards that are play cost like 6 or 7 and up, and you just would rather pass a turn. Perfectly fine, but definitely a brick. All right. So, how often will going second dig you out of a brick? Will that 6th card dig you out of a brick? So, for this, I used a hypergeometric calculator. If you guys don't know what that is, it's essentially a calculator that shows you what the probabilities are of you drawing a card out of a deck. Because it's not like a clear-cut statistical thing, like, okay, 13 divided by 50 is X percentage, right? Because every time you draw a card of the deck, the percentage changes because the amount of cards in the deck change. So it's a lot more complicated math. I don't know how to do it. I just use the calculator. All right, so I'll give you an example right here, guys. All right, so this is a basic hypergeometric calculator. So for the first example, I would say the most common amount of rookies we have is 14. So remember, in Digimon, the first 5 cards you draw out of your deck aren't actually your hand, they're your security. So first we have to find out how likely is it that a rookie from our deck ends up in our security, right? So 50 cards in deck, our security is 5 cards, there's 14 rookies in our deck, and first let's see what are the chances that there are no rookies in our security. So all 14 rookies stay in our deck after we lay out our security. There's about a 17.8% chance, right? Not very likely that there's going to be 0 rookies in your security. All right, so let's see. There's 1 rookie in our security. Chance to draw 1 or more of the wanted card, 82%. That's pretty high. 4 out of every 5 games. Chance to there be exactly 1 rookie is 38.9. So. And then chance for there to be 1 or less rookie, 56.5, about half of your games. So I would say on average, you can expect there to be 1 rookie in your security, right? I think we all know from playing experience that tends to be true. So, okay, so let's look at our opening hand probabilities. So in our opening hand, our deck is 45 cards because those first 5 cards went to security. Our sample size is 5, so we're going first. We have 5 cards in our hand. Successes in population. Okay, so on average, we lost 1 rookie to our security. So if we're running 14 rookies in our build, we lose 1. There are now 13 rookies in our deck. So what are the chances of us drawing 1 rookie? Okay, 1 or more rookies, 83.5%. I'd say that's pretty good, right? So that's 4 out of every 5 games, a little more than that. All right, and where was I going with this? Oh yeah, if you're going second, so 6 cards jumps to 88.9%. So if you're going second, there's a 6% higher chance that you will see a rookie. Is that significant? No, not really. So in an average, I would say 5-round local. So 3 games per round. That's 15 games. It ends up being about 1 game where you're more likely to draw yourself out of a brick if you went second instead of if you had gone first, right? So let's see, I'll open the calculator here. All right, so 15 games. There's a 6% chance that you go, or how did I do this math, right? Yeah, times 0.06. 6% higher chance, right? So 0.9. About 1 in every 15 games. I think that's right math. You guys who are math people can tell me if that was like bullshit math or not, but it makes sense to me. All right. So I did quite a few of these. Again, 14 rookies is about the most common amount of rookies we see in the builds. I already showed you all those. I think 13 rookies is about like the second most common rookie ratio that we see. So I did those really quick. Chance to see 0 rookies if you run 13 in your security, 20%. It's 3% more chance that you don't see a rookie in your security. Makes sense. You run less rookies, so there's less of a chance that you see 1 in your security. If you're running 13 rookies, the chance to see 1 in your security, 79.4. What is 1 or more? Exactly 1, 40%, and 1 or less, 61%. So again, it's about 1 rookie in your security if you're running 13. Again, if you play the game enough, you'll probably find that to be true. Speaking from experience, yeah, there's usually 1 rookie in my security, unfortunately. Okay, if you run 13 rookies, the chance to see 1 in your 5-card opening hand. So if you're going first, we probably lost 1 to security, so I ran these with 12 rookies in the deck. There's about an 80% chance that I see a rookie in my opening hand. if I have 13 rookies in my build and I go first. So it's about 3% less than if I was running 14 rookies. You take that for how you will, if that's significant or not. I don't really think it is. And then if I'm going second, the chance goes from 80% to 86%. So again, we see that 6% differential on going first versus going second. And in the 13 versus 14 rookies, it's about, again, 2% difference. So does it really matter? Again, I would say no. 1 in and out of 15 games, like I said, is the chance that the going second will draw you out of a brick. You can run different scenarios for yourself. So in this example, I only did the chance that you see a rookie. If you want to see, okay, what are the probabilities? Maybe I don't see a rookie, but I do see a memory tamer. Okay, then you can run those. You can just use this hypergeometric calculator. Here's the website right here, and I'll link it in the description as well. Pretty useful tool to kind of figure out your ratios and maybe tweak your build a little bit to be more statistically consistent. All right, so does it really matter if you go first or second? Honestly, I don't think so, especially in Digimon, because of the way the game is balanced around the memory gauge, and how if you play a high cost card, you pass your opponent a lot of memory, and then they are allowed to do more things, even play their own high cost card back at you. The advantages of going first versus going second aren't really significant. It really comes down to your matchup and your playstyle. So aggressive decks that want to win by attacking face and clearing security before their opponent can, should always go first, because you can establish the first attack of the game. Security control and Mega Zoo decks that don't necessarily play rookies, and a lot of their plays revolve around slamming high cost cards, should always go second, because they have more memory to work with, and by virtue of that, they are passing their opponent over less memory. So let's say, for example, security control is going first, and they have to play a Magna Angemon from their hand. They pass the opponent 7 memory, whereas in that same scenario, if they're going second, let's say on average you are given 1 to 2 memory when you go second, so they pass the opponent only 5 or 6 memory instead of the full 7, and those 1 or 2 memory can make a difference, and I know we have all experienced that. Alright guys, so is it better to go first or second? It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, unless you're playing against these two decks. So if you're going against Rookie Rush, you want to go first. If you're going against Security Control or Mega Zoo, you want them to go first, because then they pass you a lot of memory, and then you can make a play that'll help you establish your board and hopefully play around what their deck is trying to do, right? Other than that, it's really just up to you. Maybe you're having an unlucky day and you aren't drawing your cards in your opening hand. Maybe you want to go second, and that 6% chance really matters. But then again, in Digimon, the person who wins the die roll has to go first per the rules. So this really only applies if you lost the first game. You get to choose if you go first or second. And it doesn't really matter. Just kind of feel it out. You know, what does your opponent like to do? How are you playing in your practice? Like, do you prefer to go first or second? Like, let's say you're playing Lord Nightmare. If you go first, then you get your War Growl out first, and maybe it doesn't really matter to you because you just go into Lord Knight and then you get the effect off. Or maybe you like to go second because you want to bring your War Growl out second and then use the effect to try to remove the card that they established by going first. There's different ways to win. One isn't necessarily better than the other. Just kind of feel it out. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. Short video today, guys. Well, shorter than what I usually put out, that's for sure. Hope you guys learned something. Don't get too uptight about going first or second. Doesn't really matter. Just be wary of Security Control and Rookie Rush. All right? GG's, guys.